And we're live. Hello to the viewers out there in podcast land. I don't know, is that a place, Cassie? Podcast land? I think I just made that.
I mean, if you want to be there,
yeah.
Go.
Well, we're gonna be on iTunes with this one. So, hello to the viewers of podcast land on iTunes specifically. This is a new podcast, and as I'm sure you can tell, I'm Ethan
before,
Biller.
So.
From the podcast Orally Missions that I do with my brothers. And Cassie is actually from Oral Emissions as well. She's a guest host over there.
Hi, guys. Hey.
Sorry,
it's Cassie.
I completely stole your introduction.
You did. Like, I was about to introduce myself, and then you went on, like, rambling.
Yes. Oh, hello. This is Ethan Biller speaking with Ethan Biller. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear a podcast with two Ethans. So the purpose of this podcast, which is yet unnamed, is basically theory spinning. Me and Cassie really love to get together and just brainstorm about various topics and things that have been unexplained.
Basically anything.
Yeah, basically. Maybe it could be some kind of weird story about NASA. It could be who Rey's father is in Star Wars. Hint, hint about Episode 1.
Hint, hint. I mean, it can be about anything, old or new, actually, as well.
Yeah, so...
We could be theory spinning about, I don't know, something that happened, which I cannot bring to mind.
Exactly,
but,
something in history. But we're starting out as an experimentation, and we'll see where it takes us. So we'll probably see some interesting results along the line. It's going to be a weekly podcast, I believe. Actually, we didn't settle this before we started recording.
We didn't do that.
But it seems like we're on the same page, because we're going to do a weekly recording.
Yeah.
And then we'll just hopefully see some steady progress along the way.
Of course.
The idea for this podcast was born out of a very early morning conversation.
Or late night
for some people, early morning for others, because me and Cassie are worlds apart at the moment.
Even if we're miles and miles apart.
Yeah, so basically, a bit of anecdotal background. I was literally just, starting my day out in South Korea where I live, and I get this message from Cassia, who is supposed to be long asleep. And she's like, dude, check your email, right, Cassie? You told me to check my email.
Yeah, I was like, check your email, bro. I sent you a 30-second video.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, because Cassie's always making cool stuff. So I go on, and it's this ridiculous crop together of different clips from the Star Wars. She literally hops over all
everywhere.
7 movies. And she just pulls random clips out.
Yeah.
And basically she's answering the question, who is Rey's father? And how many? Did you do 4 or 5?
I chose let's see. I chose 4 or 5 of the main ideas and theories of who Rey's father is.
Yeah.
And I cropped them together saying they were
her father. Yeah. Well, more or less.
More or less.
Not in those exact words, I believe.
But
Emperor Palpatine was a bit shaky.
She was shaky because he was hard. But all of the characters, actually, if you think about it, all of the main characters in Star Wars say your father at least once in all the films.
Yes. Family relations are so important in the Star Wars universe.
They're so important in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, which is why Rey's father is such an important question.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And, but we also wanted to answer...
Yeah, who Rey's father was.
We're on the same page.
In today's
who
podcast.
Rey's father is, as well as who Anakin's father was. Because who really believes the conceived through the Force theory? I mean, no offense to you guys out there that are total fans of the universe and just believe everything they say, but... I think it's pretty obvious to everyone at this point that was just a cover-up for whoever his real father actually was. Who his real father was. Because, I mean... Which we are...
I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, if you want to cover up about where a child came from, you just say that he kind of exploded out of nothing, right? You're like...
Yeah, because that's what every logical person thinks of.
Yeah,
of course.
He was conceived of the Force. Well, I'm just confused, because if the Force can conceive children, then why are there not, little Jedi babies popping out all over the place?
Yeah, like a million Jedis everywhere.
In all the Jedi training courses... They're just there's these babies popping out of this guy, and they're like, no, stop it.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. And we still haven't had the perfect Jedi yet. We haven't had the balance to the Force.
No, we still haven't. We were promised that with those 2 twins that ended up so fail. One of them.
I don't know what happened.
One of them married some kind of space hijacker, and the other one left. To an island. So
I think they were just like to keep the family going until we get some more blood in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and see, that's an important. And see, this kind of takes us. We might as well we're spinning this into what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Because one of the most popular solutions to the problem of Rey's father.
Who Rey's father is.
Yeah, is that Luke is Rey's father. Everyone's like, oh, Luke had a baby and it's Rey's father.
And it's Rey's father. No, guys.
But that's just so boring. I hate that solution out of all of them.
It's boring.
I would rather Emperor Palpatine be Rey's father. Even though it's biologically impossible and the timelines make no sense.
It's still, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because who really wants her to be?
Yeah, we don't need another Skywalker. Regardless. And see,
we're actually I don't
exactly. Okay, so part of the reason that I back up my theory that, well, it's not a theory, it's more of a claim, I guess, because I'm not offering anything yet. I'm just saying that Rey's definitely not Luke's daughter. And the reason I think
I can agree with that.
The reason I say that is because if we think about from Anakin onwards, what was I said, Cass? The firstborn son. Or the
firstborn son.
Yeah, the firstborn, which has always been his son, has been degenerately evil in the Skywalker bloodline. Starting with Anakin.
Well, they have turned.
Yeah, starting with Anakin, and then moving onwards to their children, which was Luke and Leia, and then Kylo,
aka Kylo Ren.
Yeah, exactly. Little Kylo turned into the little demon he is, but. And so part of so the missing part there would be that out of Leia and Luke there was no degenerate. There was nothing degenerate about them. Right?
Yeah.
Because they were both positive. Well, mainly positive.
Mainly positive, yeah. Yeah, I feel I don't know.
And so because if we think about it, Luke is the firstborn.
But if you go about it with our
timeline, if he had a child, that would technically be, in the way the bloodline works, that would be, not the firstborn, but the first-ranking child. Even if Kylo was born first. Because Luke is older than Leia, so. And since Rey is so positively good, we know she's not a villain. We know she's not part of the dark side. So that kind of throws off the balance of, we're hey, if Anakin was bad and Kylo's bad, that theory means that Rey needs to also be bad, but Rey's not bad. So we kind of have this weird patched together Skywalker bloodline that's
universe so far.
Yeah, but
it's guys, if you want to take over, then do it the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Because basically all we have is just a bunch of what we've seen so far is just that these sporadic births and failures by the Skywalkers, and for some reason we're focusing on them and making 7 multi-billion-dollar movies about them. Regardless of that, me and Cassie are pretty much both in agreement. And please, if you're not sitting down, you need to sit down, because this is probably going to come as a pretty hard
because you are about to get surprised. And of course, hold on, I want to give a disclaimer. Don't totally just shut us down and end the podcast whenever we say what we're about to say.
Because
please listen to our theories that back up all of our facts.
Yeah, exactly. Because part of theory spinning and part of what we hope to do here is present realistic reasons that support unrealistic claims. Yeah, because you don't know until you know. So listen up.
Seriously.
Here's the real shiz.
Here is who Rey's father is. You want to say it together?
Well, I don't know which way you're going to say it, so just say it because.
Okay, guys, Snoke is Rey's biological father.
He is Rey's biological father. Okay.
Father. And now to back up our claim.
Here's the thing. Snoke is obviously related to what is happening in this section of the universe, right? We don't know how yet. We don't know why. We know he's some small guy that's so creepy, so mysterious. He lives on a faraway planet. Yeah, he's not mysterious. How does he know about okay, let's start with the first. He knows a heck of a lot about Luke, right?
Luke. Like, how does he know that much about Luke?
In the Force, you can sense your family members, right?
Family,
and
yes.
You can
sense their presence,
you know who they are.
Know about them. Yeah.
If Snoke is Rey's biological father, that must mean that he's also Anakin's biological father.
Which
would essentially mean that Anakin and Rey are brother and sister.
Which would, oh my gosh, I just thought about this, which would bring balance to the Force.
Exactly, which it does. Because that's what we were promised, that the original Skywalkers were going to bring balance to the Force. And everyone's like,
and if you think about
that's Leia and Luke because they're the twins.
And it's...
No, it's not. Really. That's not how it was at all.
It's Rey and Anakin.
Exactly. It's Rey and Anakin.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Whenever you bring balance to something, you have to have the good and the evil, right?
The good and bad.
So whenever Anakin was born into the universe, there wasn't any problems. Right? Like, it was a peaceful universe.
Right.
So we can't have the good and the evil come at the same time.
All at once.
Because that doesn't bring balance. That's
up.
Just, we have one bad egg and a good person that lives normally. So we had to have the bad first, which was Anakin. And he came and he screwed up everything. Or fixed everything. You know, depending on your political stance.
Where you stand, yeah.
And then now we have Rey, who's coming to right the balance of good and evil once again.
Of good and evil in the Force, and in the universe as well.
Okay, now.
So.
There is, unfortunately, a sad part to this theory. It means that Kylo Ren is largely irrelevant, which I have to admit is unfortunate because we love...
It is unfortunate because
Kylo Ren as a player. We want him to be a part of the game. But we understand that he's simply not relevant, okay? Like... relevant
anymore.
Yeah.
Because, And also I want to add, if you think about, I'm taking this kind of, since we started the Kylo Ren conversation. Yeah. Kylo Ren, his relationship with Snoke, resembles a grandfather and a grandson.
Great-grandfather, actually.
And if you think about it, if Anakin was really Snoke's son...
Yeah, then that would be his great-grandfather, which, exactly. And, I mean, why else would Darth Vader be so closely related to Snoke whenever we don't know who Snoke is? Because we all got to witness Darth Vader's pretty much his entire life through the movies that we've covered so far. And, we don't know where Snoke fits in and why he's relevant to Darth Vader overall, right? Like that question has not been addressed.
Right.
And so if that was his father, then that would therefore answer those questions.
Answer the question.
Exactly.
And
And see.
So let's take this. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just going to say that it also works out well from a filmmaker standpoint because we needed to bring Snoke back into the series. And Snoke would come back into the series at this timeline because of the fact that Darth Vader passed on. Because if the evil bloodline, if the evil in the bloodline was going to die out, then therefore we needed, as a filmmaker, we needed someone to initiate the next step of the process, like the next villain. Right?
And as Yoda said, there is always only going to be two Siths, right? Is that what he said? The master and the apprentice.
Yes.
Which would be Snoke and Kylo Ren.
Exactly. And
because Palpatine and Darth Vader have now passed on.
Right.
Episode
Right.
6. So.
And I think it's also interesting to note that if we look at this, okay, so the other thing, the other part of our theory, and this we're not as solid on insofar as offering solid backing of evidence, but insofar as what can be gleaned from the movies and just taking the face value, this is just our opinion. Snoke obviously is General Palpatine's trainer as well. I think.
And I'm gonna that's why I was gonna take it in more of a experience like Rey, talking about how Rey is related to him now because we just covered the Anakin. So, as you all know, you have probably all seen the famous video on YouTube where Palpatine is Rey's father. Like, that's what the name video is. Palpatine is Rey's father.
And
they take side-by-side shots and compare their fighting styles. Their lightsaber using the Force fighting
And the reason
styles.
this is important, by the way, for those who maybe don't follow the series so closely, is that the scene where Rey fights Kylo Ren is the first time that she has ever combated with a lightsaber. And so it's supposed to be representative of her instinctive use of the saber.
Yes.
And so now,
because she has had no training.
Yeah, because she hasn't had any training. She's never held one before. This is the first time she's ever hold it. It's a 100% instinctive. So go ahead with what you're going to say, Cass.
Yeah. So
the video compares.
You've all heard the the video compares their fighting styles. So if you think about it, Supreme Leader Snoke could very well be the Jedi that Palpatine thought he had killed.
Exactly.
Palpatine's master. Which explains all the deep scars on his face and everything.
Yes, the very hideous scars.
Because he went through something very detrimental to his health.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So...
Because also, like, bringing up what you said before about the two Siths, there will always be the teacher and the apprentice. We kind of had Snoke, Palpatine. Then we had Palpatine, Darth Vader. And now we have Snoke and Kylo Ren once again.
Kylo Ren. Mm-hmm.
Which is just very interesting because Snoke is still kind of like, I feel like it's very representative because Snoke is still kind of like the ruler over what's going on in the universe at this point, and it's still very much in his control, even down through these 3 generations now. And so, which is why Rey's birth would be very significant, I feel like, if he was her father. Because in the overall scope of the universe where that sits, I feel like it's very significant.
Mm-hmm. It is, definitely. And back to what we were going to say. If Snoke was Palpatine's master, and he trained him, then that would mean his fighting style would be what Palpatine's was.
Exactly.
You know, what Palpatine uses. And if Snoke is Rey's father, which also makes sense, So if Snoke is Rey's father, then what fighting styles would she use?
Well, she would instinctively...
The same ones that her father and Palpatine used.
Yes, which have been passed down
Snoke was...
to her. Yeah. Exactly. From her biological father.
Yes.
Exactly. So. As opposed to the fact, like Kylo Ren fights differently, Darth Vader fought differently, even though they were trained by the different people, by the, you know what I'm saying. They were trained, but they don't instinctively have the same fighting style. Especially... Well,
because they're not that closely related.
And especially, I mean, if she was Luke's daughter, I feel like, going back to that series just really quick, I feel like she would just fight completely differently. I mean, we all saw what a mess Luke was whenever he was first trying to figure out the Force and fight with the lightsaber. He was so a mess.
He was like not even.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's just so many reasons that we have here that
back up our theory.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much.
I wonder how many times we're gonna say theory in our podcast.
Maybe we should just name our podcast Theory. Which brings us to a good topic. Because I think I've covered all the points I wanted to about that.
I think so too. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah. So we'll just move on to maybe one or two other things before closing. A name for the podcast. We need to figure out a good name for it. It would be awesome, to have some kind of involvement with the community of figuring out our name. Yes. I'm not sure, maybe a poll or something. We can chat more on that, and we'll update you guys, the viewers, in episode 2. Should we make it there?
Definitely.
Let's see what else. Oh, also we're being that we're so open to theory spin on very many subjects.
Any topics.
Feel completely free to shoot us a message or leave us a comment below, and we can if you have a topic or a popular theory that you want us to debunk or study, then yeah, go ahead and shoot that over to us.
Definitely,
that would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and so far as sharing and subscribing, we appreciate all of the support that we hope to receive.
Definitely.
Yes, and you can find me on social media, on Twitter at Ethan J. Biller. So feel free to head over there. And Cassie, where can they find you?
Well, my account has actually been pretty dormant. But if you want to check it out, you can head over to Instagram or Tumblr, and you can find me at hairstylesforall_16.
Yes, it's a beautiful blog. It really is. It's dormant.
Definitely just
dormant,
go there
but beautiful.
For some inspiration.
It's like a frozen piece of beauty.
Frozen in time, like the Rose and
or like Ray.
Belle and Beauty and the Beast, or Ray.
Because there was such a space of time.
We haven't even covered the topic that maybe she was closely actually born
at the same time as Anakin, and she was frozen in carbonate, right?
Frozen in carbonate, yeah. And then Luke found her and dropped her off on Jakku.
That could be true.
That could be true.
But I feel like
we actually didn't cover that topic.
Yeah, we didn't cover that topic, the age problem, but
it's okay because we can do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Snoke gets around.
If this comes back up, if we find another, he does.
Awesome.
Oh gosh. All right,
guys.
Yeah, next week.
We shall see you next week.
So,
thanks for listening.